In the last video we looked at the Sidewinder and getting started in Elite Dangerous as a bounty hunter, and I mentioned that the next ship up would be the Eagle, so I'm going ahead and buying one from my local starport here. The Eagle's a fun ship to fly. It's got a lot of engine power, it's very maneuverable, it's got a nice roll rate, it can turn on a dime. It's still a tiny little fighter, but it's better than the Sidewinder because you've got more speed, more maneuverability, and it has an additional hardpoint, so you can pack an extra weapon and put out a little bit more firepower. Now, with this new Eagle, I've decided that I'll keep the pulse lasers, so I'll have to monitor my weapon fire a little bit more closely than I would with the Sidewinder because they're laser weapons, and because of that I'm increasing the power plant. A little bit of extra speed never helps, so the thrusters, and as you can see at the top there you can sort by different filters. So it's perfectly capable of mounting A-class modules in each of the areas, but for this short video I won't bother to do that. Obviously price affects what you will be able to fit to your ship, and early on you won't have a great deal of money, so the two things you should really think about upgrading are the power plant and the power distributor. The power distributor will feed more power to your weapons and your shields. Your shields will replenish faster, your weapons will be able to put out a more constant fire rate, thus increasing your DPS. So those are the two main things to really consider if you're tight on cash at the start of the game. There are a lot of modules to choose from in Elite, different ways of equipping your ship, and a lot of this is down to personal preference, and obviously money is a factor as well. If you can get a bigger shield generator, definitely do, because more defense is important at all times. I don't need a cargo rack and I don't need a discovery scanner because I'm purely thinking about combat. So and of course it's got an extra hard point, so we really should equip that with something. And the only thing to be careful here is with your available power. Are you going to have enough power in your capacitor to be able to support whatever it is that you're equipping on the ship? And there is a few little tricks you can use to offset if you've deployed too many modules that are over your capacity. Multi-cannons tend to cost less in terms of power. Lasers will cost you more, whether it's a beam laser or pulse laser. They always require more power. And of course the kill warrant scanner, which we discussed in the previous video, is the bread and butter for bounty hunting. So very important to try to fit one of those. And as you can see in this particular instance, I'm very tight on power, so I've increased the power plant to try and make up for that. And Elite does remind you when you fit out a new ship that you need to adjust the modules, and here are all of your different modules. If you don't need the cargo hatch, turn it off, it will save you power. And you can set priorities here for your different weapon systems and everything else that you've got equipped. So the frameshift drive, you don't need that in combat, set it to priority 2. Your weapons, obviously they want to be on priority 1, and you may have other systems in there, an auto repair facility for example. Turn it off. You only need to turn it on when you need it, and that will help with your power management. And then in terms of fire groups, I've set all 3 weapons to fire at the same time, and you can set any additional modules to a second trigger or key if you wish to do so. So here we are again at a local nav point. There are other locations to go to, and there's also missions that you can pick up, but I still think this is the safest way to get going in Elite Dangerous in the early days, simply because you have the added support of the system authority vessels in nav points. And I've gone for a wing here, so there are 2 targets flying together in a buddy system, as it were, and one of them has dropped in behind me while I try to take on his mate. So I'm doing my best to try and take him down as quickly as possible, but unlike the Sidewinder, these are not gimbaled weapons, they're fixed. Fixed weapons will only fire forward, they have a very limited arc, and you need to be spot on when you fire. So the laser underneath is gimbaled, and in my opinion it needs to be, because it's in a difficult position to fire. So the 2 front lasers can be fixed, and you can, with a bit of practice, get shots on target. And if you've got one gimbaled laser, it does help. Chaff is a great defense against anything that's gimbaled or turreted, and on the bigger fighters and the bigger ships like the Fer-de-Lance, I always run with chaff. It's a wonderful defense, particularly if something turns face on and you're caught out. Pop some chaff and it can often get you out of trouble. So I'm looking through the list here to see what else is within the nav point that maybe has a bounty on it. And as you can see, I'm switching power back into my shields so that the shields regenerate at a faster rate, and that's determined by your power distributor. And here you can see there's a wing of 3, so it could be troublesome. No one's attacking them at the moment. Having said that, the Imperial Courier is about to open up on them. Excellent. Okay, so I can start to think about engaging. I haven't run my kill warrant scanner simply for the try and speed up the video, but I would under normal circumstances, and you should too, because it will increase your bounty. I'll drop in behind this guy and try and take him out very rapidly, because I don't want the other 2 to turn on me.
Target destroyed.
The quicker you can get them down, the better. Increases your chances of survival. And we should be able to drop this little Sidewinder very, very quickly. Of course, the smaller ships have less of a bounty, and that's the trade-off, but you can kill them so quickly. He's in a flat spin, bless him.
Target destroyed.
And there we go. So the Eagle, great little fighter, lots of fun, great sound effects. You can fit it out with a number of different weapon systems. It teaches you about power management because it has a small power plant, so you have to think about what you're equipping. Hope that helps. See you next time.